Hello, Lisa here. Welcome back to my channel. Welcome if this is your first time here. Today we are going to be taking a comprehensive up close and personal look at James R. Eads' newest collection, his Kickstarter Green Glyphs Divination Collection. This is going to be so much fun. I cannot wait to even begin because there are 4 decks plus a set of dice. I have a note about the dice, but we'll get to that later, that we are going to be getting into today. I am beside myself. I had no idea that James was working on this, and I'm giddy. And I think I'm partly giddy because I am so completely enamored with the Green Glyphs Lenormand. And of all of the things that James R. Eads has put out, that is the thing that I have bonded the closest or the most with, and that I'm the most excited about. So to see that he has come up with this entire collection, when James's team reached out and asked me if I wanted to review and share this with you guys, I could not say yes fast enough. I was very excited. And the timing was actually kind of ironic because when they reached out to me, I had actually just decluttered my Prismavisions and my Cosmovisions, not because they're not gorgeous, but because there's something about that particular style of James's which is beautiful, and I appreciate the art so much, but there was something about that style that just did not click with me. However, his Green Glyphs Lenormand, let's just set this aside for a second. The Green Glyphs Lenormand, his original one, I got this in a trade, and it was kind of one of those things where I wasn't necessarily looking for it, but someone offered to trade me for something else in my collection, and I ended up with this, and I fell completely in love with the Green Glyphs Lenormand. Like, I'm pretty attached to it, and it's one of my favorites actually to recommend to people who are new to the Lenormand system, because the guidebook that comes with it and the system of the cards themselves is just really, really well put together. James uses this color coding system, which I'm going to point out actually because it's relevant. When there are colors that are very gold, those cards tend to be positive, and cards that are primarily orange and brown are more unfortunate. And then I believe greens are more neutral type cards, right? So when you're going through, it's like, oh, key, that's a positive card, right? That one's going to be a more unfortunate card. This one's going to have a mix of both, right? And so he uses this really cool color coding system. Here we have clouds where, yeah, there is going to be some unfortunate difficulties to work through, but it makes it a very intuitive system. Positive, right? Positive, and it just gives you something more unfortunate. It just makes it so easy, and I really like the art style in the Green Glyph system. He also has does a really great job with extra people cards in this deck too. But I absolutely love this, and I wasn't expecting to. You know that I'm a huge fan of really, really bold, bright colors. So from a color perspective, I honestly thought I was going to be much more bonded with the Cosmovisions and Prismavisions line of his than this one. But it turned out that this was actually a much better fit for me. So I love this deck, and I'm so excited to see what he's done with this set. And I know you're probably like, what? Wait, what's going on? What's that? I don't know. Hopefully you've already heard about it. Like, at the time that I am releasing this video to you, the Kickstarter will have already launched, and I will have it linked down below. So just know that going in, but we're going to go into all the nitty gritty and all of this stuff. But the Green Glyphs collection is a tarot, an oracle, a Lenormand, and a rune deck, all in one set, which is incredible. You will be able to get these individually in the Kickstarter, or you'll be able to get this box set. Now, this is an advanced copy, so there may be some slight changes to the final version. Just be aware of that. But it is 4 different decks and a hardbound book, which I cannot wait to open up with you guys and explore. It's really exciting. I need to calm down, but I'm really excited about this. And he actually designed this system so that you could work with the decks together. So you could, in theory, combine them all into one mega deck and have Tarot, Oracle, Rune, Lenormand all together. Or if that's too much, you could mix and match. So you could have your Lenormand and Rune together, or your Oracle, Lenormand and Rune together, and then your Tarot, or you can so that's the whole point. And James said he started working on this in 2019, and it's finally coming to life. Anyway, the box is absolutely beautiful. Again, this is the advanced copy, but I'm assuming this is very similar to the Kickstarter version. It's just got these beautiful holographic gold or iridescent gold foiling all over it, and it's really, really beautiful. This is the kind of thing that would look amazing on a shelf, right? Look at how excited. Sets of things make me very happy, and this is so well designed. Each thing with its own box, the book. Okay. So before we get into this, I just need to set it aside for a moment. This came in the box with it, and I have no idea what this is, and I didn't want to open it until I was with you guys on camera, so I'm so nervous, but I'm going to get this open. I love that it comes with these these are real botanicals. This is not artificial. And this key, which is very, very exciting. And I have to tell you, while I try to get into this, I'm going to babble at you for a second. I have to tell you that doing one of James's Kickstarters is the most incredible, exciting, positive experience I've ever had. I did the Cosmovisions Kickstarter, and while I didn't end up keeping the decks, I did end up keeping the Geomantic Vision set that you were able to get with that. Look at this key. How amazing is that? And I've got the purpose. I've got the perfect purpose for this, so I'm going to set that aside. So his Kickstarters are very well run, and I would have to say it was one of the highlights of, was it 2020 or 2021? I think it was 2021 when he did the Geomantic Visions. What is that? It's so pretty. Anyway, when he did that whole Cosmovisions thing, it was so much fun. So let's just, wow, I feel like my video design is just done by James. Thanks a lot. I appreciate that. Anyways, I had such a great experience. It was really fun. It was really exciting. There was a lot of energy in the campaign, and the communication was great. And I had a really good experience. I think if you asked me today what was my favorite Kickstarter experience, it was that one. And I think it's just because it was so well run and it was so well put together. So I could not recommend a Kickstarter experience with James R. Eads more highly. I've had good experiences. I've had mediocre experiences. I've had bad experiences on Kickstarter. His was excellent. So I expect nothing less for this Kickstarter either. Okay, yeah, so this is just his like info sheet, which I've already actually printed. I didn't realize he was providing it to us, but this is just all the stats on the deck. So I've already read through this in the copy that I printed off. So I'm going to set that to the side because we have all the details for that handy. But what a beautiful presentation and way to send it to me as a reviewer. That was a really lovely touch. All right. So I want to actually do this in kind of a weird order. I want to start with the Green Glyphs Lenormand because I already have that. So I know what my experience of it has been so far. And for anybody, and that's the only one of this set that already exists. It's just a new edition. So I want to do a quick comparison of the original one that I have, which is the original 2019 Kickstarter version, and the new edition so that we can get that part out of the way. And then we're going to get into all of the new stuff. Okay, so first off, let's see what's what here, because I don't know. So this one is the tarot. Oh, this is so exciting. I freaking love sets of things. They're so fun. The green one is the oracle. So we're just going to stack these up. Oh my God, this is so satisfying. I just can't even. The yellow box, I think, is the Lenormand. Yeah, so the yellow box is the Lenormand, so we'll set that aside. And then the orange box is the tarot, or excuse me, is the Rune set. And then this is our hardbound. Gosh, how beautiful. Okay, I'm going to take the little paper off of this and we'll look at this separately. Oh my God, look at it. It's so beautiful and it feels like so luxurious to touch. Okay, wow. Okay, Tower of Fun Things. So let me set that aside. This is what the inside of the box looks like. Like no detail was spared at all. This is stunning. I love that there's this like weeping willow tree sitting at the center. If you look to the sky, there's like this cosmic imagery, including like a world tree with this like Ouroboros situation happening. Oh my gosh, how beautiful is that? Okay, so you know that I hang my stuff up in bags, but this display is so gorgeous that I probably will just keep it in its box, which I never say, but like, how could I? It's such a, oh, it's so beautiful. Okay, so I don't have the original box. I think I may have at one point for the original Green Glyphs Lenormand, but let's take a look at the new version. So this is a magnetic flip box, quite nice. So this says, there are many paths that have led you here, and there are many paths that lead away from here. May these cards recall the paths you have traveled. May they illuminate the paths that need guidance, and may they reveal that there are some paths better left unknown. That is beautiful. So everything I have is labeled advanced copies. So again, these are not the final versions, but I assume based on what I'm feeling and seeing and touching that they're very, very similar to the final version. So let's just take a look at the books. So this is the new version, and this is the old version. So according to James, the only difference with this new version of the deck is that the card stock, the gilding, and the box have all been improved. So I'm expecting everything else to basically be the same. So I'm just taking the plastic sleeve off of that so we can check that in just a second here. Look at this, like there's a ribbon in the bottom. Like this is just, it's so well done. Okay, let me set those there for a minute. So let's take a look at my original book. So it starts on page 3 with table of contents, and the last page with anything on it is page 89. Well, it's technically blank. So I'm just going to check. So we have same thing, page 3, and page 89, and now you know a quarter of the story. Okay, that's great. Look at this. So this original one said, and now you know, on the very last page, which was page 88. On this new one, it ends with, and now you know a quarter of the story. And it's got the anchor card. How cool is that? So there should also be, yeah, there's a note from James R. Eads in the preface. I'm just wondering if this is the same. These look similar. It looks like it's probably, no, it looks the same actually. It's formatted very similarly. Yeah, so it looks like the books are going to be, oh, yeah, it looks like, is there just more of a preface here? Yeah, there's a welcome to Green Glyphs page. And then it all seems, yeah, it all seems the same. So let's just go to a random page. So let's go 31, because that's going to tell us that this is basically the same setup. There we go. Oh, so there is some differences because this is page 30 and 31 here. So it looks like we actually get a lot more introduction. Not a lot more, I guess, only, yeah, quite a bit more it looks like. So in the new book, you get more introduction, some information on the Grand Tableau. A lot of this looks similar. And then we get into our card pages, but the format is essentially the same. So things have been condensed or reworked or added to here in the beginning. Without doing a real comprehensive read through, I can't tell you precisely what the differences are, but it seems like it's been improved and added to, refined a bit. This is what I love though about the Green Glyphs Lenormand guidebook, is that when you get into it, you have a glyph, which is the premise, right? Green Glyphs, there is a glyph or a symbol for every single card, which is really exciting, by the way, if you are a journaler, because you can actually make note of what cards you drew by just simply noting down what the glyph is. And it'll be really exciting if he's done that through the other three systems, which I'm going to assume he probably has. I mean, I'm assuming runes, he'll use the rune symbols, but for the tarot and the oracle, that'll be really cool to see. And then what he has here is he has the name of it, and then he has, let me zoom you in so you can see it better. So he has the name of the card and the number, the energy, so neutral, positive, etc. So for example, in the ship card, it's neutral. So you'll notice that the ship card is green, which is a neutral color, right? And then he has a list of keywords. And then he has, and this is so helpful if you're new to Lenormand, he has a list of example combinations. So for example, for ship, he has journey, vehicle, foreign, departure, leaving home, adventure, arriving, and vacation. But then he has example combinations. So ship plus anchor would be a secure trip. Ship plus tower might be traveling for work. Ship plus child, beginning a new adventure. Ship plus key, a successful trip. Ship plus cross, a difficult trip, right? So depending on the card combination, he teaches you kind of how they can combine together. And as I recall from this guidebook as well, he has a whole section on what combinations are like how to basically do that. So yeah, he talks about, here it is right here. So he talks about reading pairs, Lenormand poetry, which is such a cool section, by the way, reading triplets, chaining and mirroring the cards, reading in a line, painting the portrait, so that's a 9 card, using the pip insets, and adding depth, counting pips. So it's, and then of course he goes into the Grand Tableau reading method and his color coding system. So, oh, and this, I think this part might be new, crossing paths. So he talks to you how to read Lenormand in path configurations. Linking the houses. I mean, it's quite a well done book. And it was one of the reasons why I fell so in love with the Green Glyphs, is because I feel like it gives you everything you need. The only other Lenormand deck I've ever come across that does nearly this good of a job, but also takes it in a different direction, is the Celtic Lenormand, which has quite a comprehensive guidebook. That one is mass market, and it also gives you sort of magical or ritual uses for each of the Lenormand, or ways to work with the cards in that way. So it has that sort of extra sort of pagan-y element on top of it. But as far as a like new to Lenormand set, this one is, I mean, I cannot recommend it highly enough. I think it's really well done and comprehensive. But let's do a quick actual, now that we've compared the guidebooks. The yellow one is the new one. Let me compare the cards, because he mentioned that the cards have been improved. So let's pull, I don't know why I put them all the way away. So let's see. And the gilding's been improved. Now I like this copper gilding. I think it's nice. The new cards have a, prismatic gold gilding. So it's a rainbow. And it is shiny. So the original was matte, sort of copper colored, and the new one is this like prismatic gold. Cardstock wise, so you'll probably notice my original has a bit of a bow. and this new one obviously doesn't because it's brand new. The cardstock is better in my opinion. And that's only because, and it'll be a matter of preference, right? Let me grab the writer so we can compare a similar card. I don't know if this will have any of the foiled cards. I'm going to guess it won't, but let's see. I want to compare card to card here. Ah, here we go. Okay. So it looks like the coloring of the cards has changed a little bit. So let me zoom you in. I'll talk about the cardstock and I'll also talk about the color difference. So you can see that this has a creamier, more parchmenty colored backing. And I wouldn't say that this is bright, pure white. Do I have anything white to compare to? Yeah, here's some printed paper. So it's still quite off-white. It's not bright, glaring white, but it's much less yellow than the original. The original had much more of a yellow tone. I really like the clarity of color in this new version. I feel like it's purer. Is that a good word? From a cardstock perspective, yeah, the backings are the same. Same thing though, that color shift has been made. You'll notice if I tilt these into the light, let's see if I can get the light on them. Yeah. You'll get just the tiniest bit of sheen on this new version of the card. This version was rose petal. So it does have that kind of grippy, sticky thing going. These are going to shuffle and they're not going to clump at all. So just to kind of see how glidey and slidey they are versus this one, which is going to be a lot clumpier. Do you see the difference? And this is quite worn in, so it's not so bad actually. It's kind of smoothed out with use, but you get the idea, whereas this is like, whoop, it's silky smooth, still matte, and it doesn't have much reflect at all. It's more matte than a satin or standard cardstock, I would say. So let's take a quick flip through of the cards in order so you can see what they all look like. We'll discover if there are anything shiny, because the version I had did have some special cards in it, I think, because it was the very first edition Kickstarter. So let's take a quick peek through. So we have Rider, Clover, Ship, and remember the color coding system. So anything that's mostly green is neutral. If it's yellow, it's positive. Yellow or gold, it's positive. And if it's oranges, then it's negative or unfortunate. The snake is all orange. Coffin, bouquet, scythe, whip, birds, child, oops, fox, bear, stars, stork, dog, tower, garden, mountain, paths, mice, heart, ring, book, letter, gentleman, lady, lily, sun, moon, key, fish, anchor. This one's blue, so pretty. Cross. And then here we have our extra cards. So we have another lady, another gentleman, a person card, and a person 2 card. I love that addition. And the albatross, which is an alternative to the cross. So for some people, the cross imagery is kind of intense. So he also includes the albatross, both having a similar meaning, right? So I love that he does that. I love the extra cards. So that is the Green Glyphs Lenormand. Real excited about that. So this is the one I was more familiar with. Everything else after this will be brand new to me. As we saw, no shiny cards. I'm pretty sure that was unique to the first edition because even the indie editions that have been sold since this first Kickstarter didn't have these foiled cards. So that is the difference there. Where's our book? So there is the Green Glyphs Lenormand. Now you'll notice obviously that this all by itself is a perfect little set. So you don't feel like you have to get the full box set. You could just get each individual or whatever individual deck set interests you. But that's very exciting. So yeah, you have your book, you have everything as a standalone unit. So that's really awesome. Okay, what do we look at next? Okay, let's look at the runes next. All right, so first off, here is the rune box. So you can see right away the difference. In the Lenormand, all of the glyphs that are on the box and on the back of the cards are the glyphs associated with the Lenormand deck. And you'll notice that the glyphs on this orange box, which is the rune set, are going to be all the glyphs that are associated with the runes, I would assume. And it looks like he may have created his own glyphs. Maybe to go along? I'm not entirely sure. So let's get into it and see. Same thing, we have a nice complete set here with a magnetic box. This one says, May the runes guide you through future journeys with grace, compassion, and understanding. May the runes enlighten you on how to be soft in the face of fear and how to go deeper even when you don't feel brave. And may the runes teach you how to let it all go, not expecting anything to come back. Oh, so beautiful. And here is our book. Okay, we'll look at that in a second. Now there are 3 dice. I did hear from James's team ahead of this review that these are actually 3 duplicate dice. They're supposed to be 3 individual dice. This will be fixed in the final copy. Obviously, these things happen with advanced versions. Like I said, there's often little tweaks that get made. So this is, I'm assuming, like a printer error. So there's supposed to be 1 dice, and each die, or 1 die. There's supposed to be 1 die, 1 for each et. So if you know the rune system, they are divided into 3 ets, 3 groupings. So there's Tyr's et, Freya's et, and the third et, I had to look it up. The third et is Haggle's et. So there's supposed to be 1 die for each et. And the idea is that then you could either cast from each individual et, or you could cast all 3 dice. These are lovely. I'm going to talk about the quality of them in a second. Or you could cast all 3 to do a rune reading with 1 rune from each et, which is a really cool system to do for a rune die. These are glorious. They are heavy. They feel like they're, let me zoom you in a bit. They're heavy and they feel like they're made out of like copper. I don't know if they actually are. Maybe they are. Okay, so I don't know my metals. These are bronze plated die. So yeah, these will be 3 different die, 1 for each et in the final version. So that's exciting. We have our ribbon. Did you even try to get that? That was like a whole moment. So we pull this out, same holographic edging, and same style back, but let's just compare. Yeah, these are the runes, and there's runes and other glyphs on the back. So let's compare the backing, because he mentioned that these are meant to be combined, right? But the runes, the backings are similar. You're not going to notice as you're shuffling which is which, but as you can see, I'm really bad at this. Hold on, here we go. As you can see, they're both glyph backings, but this is the rune backing, and this is the Lenormand backing. So when you're shuffling again, it'll be similar enough to the eye that you won't bias your readings, but it's still unique to each deck, which I think is a really, really well done way to do it. It looks like to me, and we'll see how the tarot is, but it looks like to me, if you're somebody who likes to shuffle reversals in, that the backings are not reversible, which is worth noting, but it's not something that matters to me personally. So here's our rune cards. We're going to take a look at these, and then we'll take a look at the guidebook. All right, so we have a basic anatomy of the card is that we have the rune in a box clear at the top. We have the same color coding system. So a yellow card, yellow or gold colored card, or with a predominance of that color in the card is going to be positive. Predominance of oranges is going to be unfortunate, and greens will be neutral. So here we have Fehu, and we can see that there's the actual rune symbol nice and big here. The title of the rune with its symbol is at the bottom. And then we have an image that's supposed to give us the meaning or remind us of what that card is all about. So Fehu is associated with cows or cattle, so that makes sense. Uruz is associated with the bull. Thurisaz with Thor's hammer and the thorn. So this is perfect, and the color there makes it really obvious that this is a more difficult card. Ansus, I love this. Ansus is spirit communication, so this is perfect, or at least that's how I read it. There are multiple meanings you can have with some of these runes. Rido, or movement forward. Love that. Kenaz is the torch or the flame. Love that. Gebo, the gift. I love that it's a fountain pen as the gift. That makes me so happy. Wunjo for joy. This is a beautiful image for joy. All the flowers and the daisies, the yellow color immediately cues us. And the heart, the little tiny white heart at the center of our character here. Perfect. Hagalaz, hail. Look at that. Oh my God, these images are perfect. Nauthies or need. Oh my gosh, and this is so good. Okay, so this is one of those things that I feel like it's kind of not always easy to illustrate the concepts of these runes. And this is so brilliant because when we think of need, it's like being in need is not a positive experience necessarily, right? And sometimes in this case, it almost feels like this person's like thirsty for just the scrap of, or the tiniest drop of fluid or of liquid, of water. Almost like this like starved person in the desert who's getting just a single drop of water. That can sometimes be what it feels like in an Nauthies moment. So I love that. Isa, ice. Or frozen, and there's actually a like a woolly mammoth kind of petrified in there. Or petrified? Is that the right word? No. Is it the right word? Fossilized or something. Here we have Yera, the harvest. I love the different colors here, so we get the idea of seasons. I was. Now this is the same symbol that was in the cosmos area of the box, and I love this. There's an element here to me of like protection, but connection to the world tree. It's all very present in this image, which I like. Perthrow for fate, and this is like a dice bag, which is perfect. There are sometimes different names for the same rune, depending on what system you're looking at, what resources you're looking at. So here he's got Elhaz. I'm sure that's perfectly valid. I know it is Algiz, so that's what I feel when I see it, but yeah. Oh, sorry, let me go back. This is to me, this is very much like a spiritual protection card, or it's hard to describe. This, it is associated specifically with the elk. What's interesting about this one for me is that I often think of the Patronus from the Harry Potter world with this rune. So this is great for me. It totally works from that spiritual protection kind of standpoint. Here we have Sowilo, the sun. Tiwaz. This is fantastic because this is associated with Tyr. There's an element here of honor and justice and warrior, and I just think all of that's present there in that sword. Love that. Especially the sword going right into the graphic of the rune itself. Very clever. Berkana. Love that. For like birth. There's this like explosive birth moment happening here. Awaz. The horse. Manaz. Mankind. Community. Love that. Lagus for water and flow. Ingwaz for the seed, the sprout. Dagaz for daybreak. Othala. Oh, this idea. To me, Othala is like a quintessential legacy symbol, so I really love that. That's beautiful. So those are the rune cards. Really, really nice. So let's take a look at the guidebook real quick and see what we get. If it's anything like the Lenormand guidebook, and I assume it is, then we're going to be real happy with it. So let me zoom us back in. So we have our table of contents. So you get a note from James R. Eads, welcome to runes, a history lesson, stringing runes together, Odin's rune. Then we have 3 runes, 4 runes, 5 runes, and beyond, the cards at a glance. Then we have phrase et, haggles et, and tears et, and then your runic journey. So it looks like he takes us through a 1 rune reading and spread, a 3 rune spread, a 4 rune spread and sample reading, a 5 rune spread and sample reading, and then we get into the card meanings at a glance. Here we have again the same color coding system, again brilliant, makes it so easy to learn. Then we have the individual et card meanings. So just like in the Lenormand system, we have the name of the rune and the symbol, the pronunciation, which is so handy. So here it's Fehu, so it tells you Fehu, all phonetically spelled, Uruz, etc. And then it has a brief history of the rune. It has several keywords, and then Merkstav. So I don't know, why don't I know what that is? Is that about, what's a Merkstav? Hold on, let's go back. Let me educate myself briefly. Oh, okay. Merkstave, Merkstave is basically the reversed meaning of each rune. I had to go back and look it up. I'm like, I've never heard that term before. But yeah, like essentially the reversed or shadowy meaning, I guess. So for example, in Uruz, he's got vitality, endurance, upcoming challenge, physical and spiritual strength. But then in reversed or the more shadowy meaning, we have unprepared for a challenge, suppressed anger, health issues, and need for self-care. And he does explain this in the introduction to the card meanings. So same exact kind of layout as we have with the Lenormand deck, so I know it's going to be effective. And then we get into, so we go through all the ets, and then at the end, there's a section here called Your Runic Journey, and then a bit about using the dice and a bibliography with some resource links, which is amazing. So that is the runic set, the rune set. Green Glyphs Rune deck. What does he call it here? Yeah, Green Glyphs Runes. Oh my gosh, that's so exciting. So really nice here to have this little tray at the bottom for your 3 dice also. That'll be really cool once there are, like in the fun. Look, it's Perthrow in the bottom. How fun is that? Okay, so let me pop these back in the box. Love this. So that is the rune set. Love that. So let's set that aside. Let's do the tarot next. So that's the tarot. All right, so it's in a blue box. And these, I'm assuming, again, are going to be the glyphs for the various tarot cards. I love that there's going to be glyphs for the tarot. That's going to be so fun. And then here's what the back of the box looks like. Again, it's the same thing. We've got a magnetic opening. And in here it says, the world is infinite and yet incredibly small. It contains everything we know and all we have yet to know. May these cards reveal the universe unfolding all around you, and may these cards teach you all that must be unlearned in order to move through time with an open heart and a ready mind. So beautiful. So here we have our tarot guidebook. Again, looks like the same kind of format, so we'll look at that at the end. Oh my God, that's so exciting. I'm so excited to see a tarot deck in this format. Now, I didn't talk about the size of these cards, and because we're bringing out the tarot deck, this is the perfect time to do that. So these, I believe, are I want to say they are a bridge-sized card. They are definitely like pocket deck sized. Let me set this aside. By the way, the cardstock on all of these cards is 350 GSM. Okay. Oh my God, I'm so excited. Let me take a look at the backs. So the backs do have all of the tarot symbols, but it's the same setup as before. The same edging as all the other decks. So again, these are meant so that you could combine them, right? So let me show you a standard tarot card size so you know what the difference is. So here I have a mass market like Llewellyn deck. So it's very standard. This is the Everyday Witch Tarot. And that is the size. So those of you with smaller hands are probably going to love the pocket size. This would be great for bigger spreads. I am like so excited about this. All right, so same color coding system, which is really exciting. So here we have the Fool and we have all that yellow gold color. So we know that this is a positive card. But there is, interestingly, some orange off in the distance there. So you get that hint of risk. So let's talk about the anatomy of the card real quick. So we have the image obviously is front and center with the border around it. At the bottom we have the card number. So here we have key 0, the name of it, the Fool, and the little glyph for the card right on the card. So we have the little Fool's, what do you call this, little stick with satchel? I am curious. There's some astrological references here that I'm not familiar with in this card. So I want to pull into the Fool here real quick. That literally looks like the symbol for the sun, yeah, the sun in Aries, kind of, only it's missing the center dot. I'm really curious about that. I don't see a reference in the guidebook to these symbols in our Fool's hand, but to me it looks like sun in Aries, which is not an association with the Fool that I'm familiar with, so I'm super curious about that. If anybody has any thoughts on that, I would love to hear down below in the comments, but I don't see a reference to it in the guidebook, at least not in the card description section. So I'm super, super curious about that. I don't know if we're going to be seeing astrological associations throughout, but let's just go through the cards. I love this illustration style. I really like it. There's something about it that I don't know. I really like it. Here we have our magician, and we have the 4 suit symbols and the lemniscate over our magician's head. Again, we have the yellow color dominant in the background, but we still have his red robe, which is really cool. I like that we get the shadows at the bottom as well. Next, we have the high priestess. I love that we have the glyphs on these pillar, the dark and the light pillar, the water underneath her. So our symbology is very present on the card, which I love. I love the sort of day-night aspect behind her. Here we have our empress. That's really unique and different, but I love that we still have the shield. She's kind of floating above her throne here, which is so interesting. The emperor, little bits of water still behind him. Love that. The high priest, very neutral, right? The lovers, again, we get both positive or shadowy. I think we're going to see that throughout. I just realized, at least through some of the majors. The chariot is green and yellow, but the seat is orange. I love this being on a unicycle situation here. Strength. Oh, wait. I heard about this. Hold on. I knew about this. This was mentioned in the materials. The majors do form a panorama. So let's check that out, you guys. Oh my God. Okay, I'm such a nerd, but look at this. Okay, so there's our empress, our emperor. Right, we get some of that water kind of coming over from the empress, which is so cool. Our hierophant. Our lovers. I am loving the crossroad. Oh, look at this with the sun. I am loving the crossroad and the lovers because for me, lovers is very much a choice card or a commitment card. Then we have the chariot connecting to strength. Oh my God, that's so cool. The idea that strength is sort of pulling on the chariot, that is incredible. But individually, it still works, right? We have the elephant who's pulling. Then we have the hermit. I'm going to cover up the card there. continuing on the path. And this really illustrates the idea of the Fool's Journey, right? We can really see ourselves walking this path, which is so cool. Here we have the Wheel of Fortune. So we were going along a way. Here's a bridge, right? We're kind of headed towards the water. Next thing you know, we're on a boat now and we're going through the water. Very cool. Justice brings us up above it all for a minute. The Hanged Man. I really like how easy it is to see what card you're looking at too. We have Death, very stark but potent card there. Then we have Temperance. The Devil. The Tower. Okay, I love how the shadow of the devil becomes the hand upsetting the tower. That makes so much sense. The progression from devil to tower is actually a really interesting one in my experience. The Star. So we have the disruption of the tower. So we're going into this difficult time in the orange color, and then we're coming out of that to a more neutral space. First to positive, right? And then to neutral. Then we have the Moon. The Sun. Judgment. Oh, I love this. It's kind of interesting because normally we would see the lightning in the tower, but lightning and the spark sort of from this portal makes so much sense to me for Judgment. I often see Judgment in a portal-y kind of way. So again, that really works. And then the World, which I'm going to just imagine is over here now. So that was the card. So those are the majors. Now they're all out of order, and I don't even care because we're going to be shuffling them anyways. This is the one I'm really going to want to show you the shuffle with because it's the thickest of all the decks. So let's come back into the middle and zoom back in, and we'll flip through the rest of the cards. The minors don't make a panorama to the best of my knowledge. So we're in the Wand suit. We have the Ace of Wands. I love that there's a little flower growing there. The Two of Wands. I like the sort of weaving of energy happening there. The Three of Wands. So very pippish in that card specifically. I'm so used to seeing a kind of pippish Three of Wands because we'll often find that deck creators will really highlight the triangle energy of the Three of Wands. The Four of Wands. And again, we have these little glyphs at the bottom, which I haven't really been paying. Oh, I see. So the wands all have the same glyph. So you would do two and then the glyph if you were wanting to illustrate, like in your journal, what card you pulled. We have the Four of Wands. The Five of Wands. This is interesting because it doesn't seem like five figures are all like kind of duking it out together. It almost has a sort of Five of Swords or even like a Seven of Wands kind of vibe to me, where it's like one wand in this blue color is being like onslaughted by these, there's an onslaught of these other wands. So that's not quite the energy I'm used to seeing in the Five of Wands. I can definitely work with it, but it's not what I was expecting. I do like it though when creators change things up a bit. Even if it isn't something like that I would choose, I like that because it makes you think about the tarot differently, which is always good in my opinion. Six of Wands. This passing of the wand or passing of the power to somebody who has earned it. I really think that's powerful. The Seven of Wands. Oh, interesting. Oh, I want to know what the guidebook says about this right now. I cannot even wait. Okay, sorry. I know I was going to look at it at the end. I always do that to myself, though. Like, I always end up changing my mind. So, Seven of Wands. After much deliberation, the traveler did something no one expected. They destroyed the remaining wands. The traveler knew the power would once again fall into the wrong hands, but also knew that true magic comes from within humans, not from the wands. Okay, that's really powerful. So now I'm curious what it said about the five. Hold on, let's go back. In the Five of Wands, swayed by a growing need for power, the orange-cloaked figure decides to use magic for evil. It was inevitable that someone would learn that this magic, combined with the internal magic of humans, could be used for evil. As the magic of wands falls into the wrong hands, the traveler is forced to use the magic for his own protection. Yeah, that's still feeling very Seven of Wandsy to me. But again, to each their own. All good. Eight of Wands. That's also interesting. So here we had a passing of the wand. In the Six of Wands, we had that passing off of power, that sort of like you've earned it now. So then in the Eight of Wands, I'm so curious now. A firm hand holds the fractured wands. Okay, so the wands that were broken here holds the fractured wands outwards and offers them to the higher powers. The new wands should be dispersed evenly across the land. The traveler tells the higher powers that the magic was still alive in the broken wands, knowing full well that it was long gone and that they already had all the magic they needed within. I feel like we're looking at the tarot a lot more numerologically, which is super interesting. So let's just take a moment and come back to the guidebook for a second. So it says here in the introduction to the Minor Arcana, And I know I'm interrupting, but it makes sense in my head. 4 tales, 4 meditations. So it says the minor arcana of green glyphs is told through 4 different tales. Each suit takes us on a journey that enlightens us on the simple wonders of being human. Patience, self-love, giving, acceptance, coexistence. These are all aspects of life that we spend years learning and unlearning. Much like the major arcana tells us the story of the cycle of life, these suits offer a glimpse into these simple lessons. So in the wands, the tale of how humans found magic is represented by the suit of wands. Then we have the tale of how elephants learned to carry water in the suit of cups. The tale of how the stars were made is represented in the suit of swords. And the tale of how the sea formed the land is the suit of stones. Okay, that's so interesting. Okay, so let's keep going. The Nine of Wands. So a lot of the context of what's happening in the cards is going to make more sense through the lens of the story being told. The Ten of Wands. Love that. Then we have our Page of Wands. The Knight. I love that it's on a rocking horse. That's so cute. The Queen. Love that she's dancing. And the King. Now we have the Cups, and this is the elephant suit. Ace, or the elephant elephant story. Ace of Cups. 2 of Cups. I love how they're each carrying a cup. That's so pretty. 3 of Cups. 4 of Cups. Quite the journey happening here. I love the shadows. 5 of Cups. 6 of Cups. 7 of Cups. 8 of Cups. 9 of Cups. Oh, I love this. Yay. 10 of Cups. It does make you want to learn the story, right? Then we have the Page of Cups. The Knight of Cups. So cute. The Queen of Cups. Love her belly. And the King of Cups. Amazing. Love that. And I think elephants are a really neat symbol for the cup suit because of the way that they hold and retain the water, or they can hold and retain. They can hold and retain and sort of manipulate the use of water with their trunks. I just think that's really cool. Okay, now we're on to the sword suit. So this is about how the stars were made. We have the Ace. Oops. The 2. The 3. The 4. I love the snow and the feeling that the world, the land is at a period of rest here. The 5. Yeah. Oops. It's not the cards clumping. That's literally just user error with grabbing multiples. 6 of Swords. 7. 8. Very Rider-Waite-Smith. So you have cards like this that are immediately reminiscent of the Rider-Waite-Smith image. And then you have ones like this. We're used to seeing sort of a ship or some travel or some movement, and that's totally different. So this is one where I wouldn't say it's necessarily immediately the best beginner deck. This is going to be really exciting, I think, for people who know tarot fairly well to get into exploring the similarities and differences. Oh, what am I doing? Okay, there we go. The 9 of Swords. I love how this card is very bold and rusty red colored. You really get that strong sense of this is a difficult card. But yet the 10 of Swords, the person's in a difficult situation, but the card itself is fairly open and spacious. So it gives that idea that it's a lot of what's happening is happening internally. Then we have our Page of Swords, our Knight, Queen, and King. The stars sort of being born there. Really beautiful. So now we're into the suit of stones, which is our earthly suit. And here we have our Ace, 2, oh, lost it, 3, I love all these like sort of stone bone vibes we got going on here, 4, 5, the cracks in the earth, 6, yeah, I have a feeling this would be a very strong deck numerologically, 7, 8, there are definitely clear things happening in the cards, but it retains a little bit of that sort of pippish feel, and it steps away from the Rider-Waite-Smith enough that I feel like it would be really good for sort of expanding and moving away from just the same kind of answer or the same kind of interpretation every time, which could work or could not work. It really depends. I don't know if this will or won't work for me yet, but it's really exciting to me when deck creators go a different way, even a little bit. I think that's really fun. That was the 9, and then we have the 10 of Stones. I love that we have earth and water combined here. Page of Stones, Knight of Stones, Queen, and King. So fun. Okay, so let's zoom out. I want to give this one a shuffle. So hand over hand, this cardstock is like amazing, but this feels like a chunky little deck. So let's see what it's like to try to riffle it. But gosh, this would be so great in a bigger spread. So let's see. Do we have any give? It's kind of stiff for a deck that's small like that. Yeah, I feel like it's not going to riffle the best. It really feels like, yeah, it's too stiff. I think it's because of the size. If this was a thinner cardstock, which I know we're so fickle, myself specifically. I am so fickle about cardstock, and I totally recognize it probably drives creators insane, the way that I talk about cardstock. But this is one of those decks that because it's thicker, I want it to have more give because I can't riffle it. It's just a little too, so let me try splitting it. I think if I split it, it'll be fine. It's still pretty stiff, to be honest. I think this is definitely a deck you're going to want to hand over hand. Because I got pretty strong hands and I'm definitely working for it. But yeah, I almost feel like given that this is such a super combined deck, it almost would have been better served at like a 330 GSM at most, because smaller cards do tend to be harder to, they feel thicker. The smaller it is, the thicker it feels. And the bigger the card is, the thinner the cardstock feels. So a 300 GS, or that's a terrible example, a 350 GSM cardstock like this feels quite thick on a small card, but would feel probably almost too thin on a big card, if that makes sense. Like not a standard, but like an Oracle or a bigger card, it would feel super, super thin comparatively, but on a small card, it feels pretty stiff. So this is one where I feel like I'm definitely going to have to hand over hand it. So hand over hand is actually no big deal with this because the cardstock is so deliciously like smooth and slidey. And also, can we just go gaga, can we just go gaga over these rainbow edges? Oh my gosh, amazing. And honestly, if it gets really thick by combining the different decks, then you'll definitely want to hand over hand anyway. But so pretty, so pretty. So really, really like that. That's fun. So we still have the Oracle deck to get into. So let me tuck this away. Oh, we have that page of, was that the Page of Wands, I think? I can't remember. Okay, anyways. So we will take a look at the Oracle, and then we will check out the book, the big fancy book. So that is the tarot. And now we have the Oracle. So how many cards is this? 50 cards. Thank you, James. Because sometimes Oracle cards, especially like sets like this, I assume they're going to go a little skinny. But 50 cards is just right. More than that is fine. Less than that, it starts to get a little thin for me. And then here again, we have glyphs that are going to represent the glyphs on the back of the cards and the glyphs that represent each individual card. Is that a lotus? I'm just curious. Just wondering. There's a snail. So this one says, a door presents itself in a dream. It's a simple door made of wood with a brass knob. It's nothing remarkable, but where it leads is all that matters. Once the door is open, it can never be closed again. May this oracle reaffirm your choices so you can cast fear aside for what lies on the other side. Oh my gosh. And this book is actually very similar in color to my original Lenormand book, which is kind of fun. So this is a Green Glyphs book. Oh, I didn't get into the tarot book, did I? Okay, well, we'll do that in a second, just so I don't disrupt myself. Oh, we have a fancy metallic card. That's fun. Okay, so let's take this off. Get rid of that. Everything is so beautifully packaged. And then we have this chair with the vase on it in the background. So let's take a peek. Same cardstock, same backing. Let's zoom in. So it looks to me at first glance like we're going to get titles, not necessarily keywords. I do think James wanted to keep this open for interpretation, and he did not use the color coding in the Oracle because he didn't want to automatically assume which card might be read by you to be more positive versus more difficult, so it left it very expansive. Oh my god, is there going to be foil on every card? Oh my god. There is this gorgeous, like, iridescent, what was it called? Prismatic. There's this gorgeous prismatic foil on every single card. I'm living. So we have acorns. Gosh, I wonder how this will be to read intuitively. I'm so curious because I usually, you know me, I have a real barrier when it comes to titles versus keywords. I always want keywords on oracles, but this is really exciting anyway. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a sucker for shiny things. Broken glass seems like it'd be really fun to read intuitively though. Candles. Cat. Chair. Oh, that foiling. Are you seeing how pretty? Chimes. It just catches the light in such a stunning way. Cuckoo clock. Crystal ball. Look at all the sparkles. Yeah, I'm really just a sucker for shiny things. Let's be honest. Demons. Dinosaur. Oh my gosh. Oh, look at the door. Look at how pretty that is. Okay, on camera, I feel like it's just coming off as gold, but in person, it's all rainbowy at the same time. Drain. Enoki. Look at their smiley faces on them. Look. They're smiley. They're smiley mushrooms. An etching press. Feather. Fig. Oh man, I wish there were keywords. Flamingos. It's so pretty though. Gazebo. Giant tooth. Ghost. Goat. He's eating the border of the card. How fantastic is that? Hummingbirds. Inkwell. Lantern. Lost parrot. Mantis. Oh. Mantle. Oh boy, what's happening here? There we go. Mites. Morning glory. Oh. Onion. I love that there's a sprout in the center. There's so many cool ways to read that. Ostrich. Owl. Paint can. Phone call. Oh, so pretty. Pig. I love that the pig is like straight up in the mud, like having a great time. Playing cards. Man, these are so pretty. Plane. Oops. Portal. I love me a good portal. Rooster. My cards are a mess, but that's okay. Runic dice. And these are, of course, the same dice as we have in that dice set, which is super cool to see. Snail. Spoon. Stone tablet. Look at that. Oh my gosh. Swing set. Talisman. That is so pretty. Tincture. Willow tree. Wisteria. Yesterday's coffee. Amazing. And an unknown. A cubic card. Unknown. Oh my gosh, look at all the rainbows. Oh my god. Okay, so pretty. Okay, so let me pop these back into their box for a minute. Same exact cardstock, so I don't need to continue to belabor that point. And then let's take a look at the book real quick. So, and then I will back up and show the tarot book. I just don't want to interrupt this one partway through. So here we have in the Oracle, the introduction, a welcome to the Oracle. What is an oracle? How to use it? Where does the imagery come from back here? Can they be read in reverse? Yes. So there's some beginning exercises, how to conduct a reading, oracle poems, reading 3 cards. Look at this. This is so great. There's a Celtic cross, which is amazing. I love that spread. Decoding the cards. So it talks about how you have card name, the green glyph for the card, a few sentences about the card, keywords, and reverse keywords. So again, it's a very similar format, one that we've become familiar through these other decks. So you have your write-up, your glyph, your name, your write-up, upright, and reverse keywords. So it's exactly the same format as the other decks take, which is awesome. I want to know about the very last card. There we go, question mark. Is everything in front of you truly as you see it? If we approach the cube knowing only of squares, is it still a cube? Instead of answering questions, the cube asks you more. It is a relic from the unknown, and as long as you try to figure it out, it will never open. Interesting. And then continuing your journey. Oh my gosh. Okay. Very, very exciting stuff. So let me pop that back in. Oh, did I show you the back of the cards? I don't know if I did. Yeah, there we go. So it's the same. It's made up of symbols that come from the Oracle deck itself. So again, the backs all have this like exact same type of design, but each with glyphs specific to the deck that you're working with. So you won't get them mixed up, or if you do combine them, it'll be very easy to separate them back out again. But they're similar enough that when you're shuffling, you won't have any kind of a problem if you are combining them that way. Now let's take a look at this beauty right here. This is the hardbound book that comes in the boxed set. So you have this beautiful willow tree on the background. You have your title. It's all in that prismatic gold. This beautiful symbol, which looks like it's made up of some rune, oracle, tarot, and Lenormand symbology, I'm assuming. Just because I'm pretty sure I see the wheel. I see manas there. I see some other runes. So cool. Okay. Look at this. Oh my gosh, the end papers are beautiful. I mean, James does not hold back on quality with his stuff at all. There is a built-in ribbon bookmark to this book as well, so that's in there. So in this big book, you have a chunk on the tarot, a chunk on the Lenormand, chunk on the runes, oracle, and then a chunk on all together. Now the situation with this book is that it does contain all of the exact same information from the individual books, as well as the section on reading together. So you're basically getting one comprehensive, it's a sewn binding, by the way, one comprehensive guide that has everything all together, which would be really handy because if you combine the decks into like a super deck and then read with it, which would be so cool. Are we going to check that out today? We might check that out today, even though I've been here for a while. But anyways, and then at the back, you have a section. So that's the oracle. Let's get past the oracle. Here we go. Using a mega deck. So creating your hybrid deck. So it talks about using a mega deck, using pieces. So it says before you jump in and shuffle all 4 decks together, you may want to start with small combinations. So pull specific cards that you gravitate towards and shuffle them into other decks. Mix and match to make your unique hybrid deck. Perhaps there are a few runes you connect with and you want to shuffle them into your tarot or oracle deck. Consider these runes as markers for something important, almost like their own major arcana. Yeah, the idea of like the runes with the oracle is really cool as a concept. When you conduct a reading in and out of all the possible cards in the deck, if these few from another deck still appear, it can be significant. What are they trying to tell you? So it does talk about how the Green Glyphs Oracle is the most versatile of all 4. He considers it a deck of extra cards. Cards you can slip into other decks to strengthen or dilute tarot readings. If you're familiar with my Prism of Visions deck, each edition comes with a unique 79th card. So the Green Glyphs Oracle is essentially a deck of 79th cards, which makes so much sense. He's basically saying like, yeah, use the Oracle to mix and match with the other decks. I would also recommend trying to combine your tarot and rune together. Since there are 24 runes and 22 majors, it is essentially like creating a second major arcana, making your tarot deck into a 3-part deck. Now that's really cool. I could see myself doing that. And then it talks about combining all the cards. Reading 3 cards. He's showing combined readings using the different decks in combination. The painting the portrait, which is that 9-card spread. He's talking about how the hybrid deck can work together. So here you can clearly see that there is tarot and there's oracle and there's rune and there's Lenormand. Oh my God, it's so cool. He's got the Celtic cross reiterated here. I know that we get cranky sometimes. I don't specifically so much. I don't think anymore anyway. But we tend to get cranky that there's a Celtic cross spread in like every guidebook. But it's such a classic, and I feel like for a big spread, it is one of the best for answering literally any question, and it is still my go-to. I think if you memorize a good version of the Celtic cross that resonates with you, I feel like it just opens up so much possibility for reading, and like you can read for anybody in any situation with the Celtic cross, my opinion. So I think it's good that it's not, like we're not letting it die off, because let's face it, right now the Celtic cross is not very popular, and I kind of feel like if we weren't constantly seeing it in these guidebooks and stuff, it might go away, and that would be so sad because it is such a intrinsic piece to me of like tarot's story. Anyway, that's my little rant on the Celtic cross. If you want to hear me rant more about the Celtic cross, I have an entire video called In Defense of Celtic Cross that I did in collaboration with Don Michelle at Boho Tarot. I will just link that up in the cards for you, so you can go check that out. Anyways, this is a absolutely stunning set. So I'm just curious how big the deck would get if I did combine the tarot. Maybe I will have to put these in bags. Oh man, but the box is so cute. But like if I combine them, then I'm going to want to keep them combined, right? So if you were to combine, just as an example, I'm not going to mix them up, I don't think, but if you were going to combine the runes and the tarot, that is how chunky, look at how chunky your deck would be. Look at that. Oh my gosh. So cool. Okay, now, do I still have them mixed up? No. Okay, so these are my runes. And here's an example of what the backings look next to each other. So you can tell, right? Like there's a little bit more glyphs on this backing than on this backing, so they look kind of different, but like at a glance, you're not going to really catch it, I don't think. I also love that all of the sets are color-coded, like their box and their book are color-coded, so when you do go to separate everything out and put it away, it's like you're not going to get mixed up because they're not all the same color. You're not going to get the Rune guidebook mixed up with the Tarot guidebook in your individual sets, right? So let's just, for the sake of just because it's fun and it's aesthetic, just put everything together. So the way I would organize it typically is go Tarot, Oracle, Rune, and Lenormand. Nope. Also, I put that in backwards. We're going to have to go Lenormand and then Rune and then our beautiful hardbound book. Okay, that's going to bug me. Hold on. We're going to have to fix that. Come back out. Okay. We're going to just tuck the ribbon bookmark back up a bit to put it away so that it all slides in neatly, because that's what we want. I mean, I don't even know what to say. Well done, James. I think this is going to be a very exciting and fun set. And I also think what a beautiful giftable item. Like if you know somebody who's into divination and they've got like all the mass market decks, they've got a whole bunch of stuff, like how cool and unique would this be as a gift to get? Like, can you imagine how exciting? You get a tarot, an oracle, a Lenormand, and a rune set, like plus dice. Hello. And it's just, I mean, this is just beautiful, and I'm so excited to have a chance to play with it. I will keep you guys posted. It will probably be a little bit until I work with this for any kind of dedicated amount of time, because I have a lot on my plate at the moment, but I'm really excited to get a chance to peek at it. Thank you again to the team at James R. Eads for letting me take a peek at this and share it with all of my subscribers. I hope you guys enjoyed yourself. This is probably a very long video. I am sorry in advance to editing me for the length, but to all of you, thank you for sticking around. As always, an extra big thank you goes out to my Unicorn fam members. Thank you so much for supporting the work that I do here. It means so much. And to all of you who come here and watch the videos, you subscribe or you like or you comment or whatever you do to engage with the content I create, it matters and it helps, and I appreciate you all so very, very much. So thank you very much for hanging out with me today, and may your magic always shine from the inside out. Bye.